Hello?
Hi, this is 911. We just got a hang-up call. Is everything okay?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm okay.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I'm okay. Sorry.
Okay, well, it sounds like you're crying. Do you need police, paramedics, or anything?
No, I'm okay. I promise. I'm just emotional.
That is newly discovered audio of a 911 call from the home of Spencer and Monique Tepe from April. This call was placed months before this couple was found dead on December 30th in their home in Columbus, Ohio. Police are still searching for a killer. What we're learning about this 911 call, who potentially made it, and what could it mean for solving this case? We're on the case, presented by Law&Crime. I'm Chris Stewart. Who would go into a home of a dentist, shoot him multiple times, kill his wife, then run away, leaving the couple's 2 children unharmed, but now without their parents? That's the question that continues to grow louder as the days go on since Spencer and Monique Tepe were shot dead in their home. Police believe the murders happened between 2 and 5 o'clock in the morning on December 30th. Now, here's that video once again before I get to the new information, but I just think it's so important for you to see this, of the person of interest. Police say they saw walking behind the Tepes' townhome between 2 and 5 o'clock in the morning on the day it is believed the Tepes were killed. The temperature was in the 20s that day. It's the middle of the night, and it looks like this man is just walking by himself in the alley behind the Tepes' home. Now, it's unclear if this is the person who police believe killed Spencer and Monique Tepe. Police are continuing to ask the public for videos just like this that they may have from the area where the Tepes live around the time that police believe the Tepes were murdered, which again is between 2 and 5 o'clock in the morning on the 30th. Now, we've heard 911 calls that came in after Spencer and Monique Tepe were killed, like this one from a friend who says he saw Spencer's body near his bed around 10 o'clock in the morning on the 30th.
911, what's the location of your emergency? Okay. Got several calls on that. What's changed since the last person I talked to?
There's a body.
There's a body inside?
Yeah.
Okay, hold on one second. Let me get you on the line with the medic, okay? Stay on the line.
But now we're hearing a 911 call that was reportedly made from the Tepes' address before they were killed. In fact, months before they were killed. The call that you're about to hear was first discovered by Fox News Digital.
Hello?
Hi, this is 911. We just got a hang-up call. Is everything okay?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm okay.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I'm okay. Sorry.
Okay, well, it sounds like you're crying. Do you need police, paramedics, or anything?
No, I'm okay. I promise. I'm just emotional.
Now, the call was made on April 15th at 2:45 in the morning. April 15th was a Tuesday. The family of Spencer Tepe is giving some context, though, on who you're hearing in this phone call and the circumstances surrounding it. And I'll tell you that here in just a moment. But I want you to hear the rest of this call that was released by Fox News Digital.
Okay. I don't need nothing.
Well, can I ask what had you call 911 in the first place? Like, were you having an argument with somebody?
Me and my man got into it, but I'm okay. I promise.
Did anything ever get physical?
No.
You guys were just arguing, nobody hit each other?
Yes.
Okay. All right, man. Well, I have the information here. I can go ahead and tell the officers to cancel hitting over to your address there.
Yes.
If anything changes, call us back.
Okay.
Now, the woman you hear on the phone, of course, very emotional, and she says that, quote, she and her man got into it. You do notice some decent pauses there after the dispatcher asked the girl if she is okay, but based on this conversation, they decide to cancel sending over police units to the house. Now, the family of Spencer Tepe is saying that the girl that you hear there, that is not Monique Tepe. And they're also providing some context as to what was going on at the Tepe house, really not just that night, but early in the morning, this 2:45 phone call on a Tuesday in April. Now, we'll have that for you here in just a moment. But as we continue to follow that development and look at whether it has anything to do with what happened to Spencer Tepe and his wife on the 30th, here's what we know about the search for a suspect at this point. Now, again, Spencer and Monique Tepe, it seems like they were just so loved by so many people. This is their wedding video from 2021. It's, of course, gone viral, and it shows them on their wedding day. It appears that they are on the steps of the home where they were found dead on December 30th. It's a townhome. Looks like it was built fairly recently with a couple others next to it in an area of Columbus, Ohio. Now, the couple had 2 children, and the children are 4 and 1 years old. That absolutely just hits you in the heart every time you say it, every time you think about these kids, because even though they were unharmed, they were in that home when all of this happened, and they were there when police eventually got into the house on the 30th and made a terrible discovery. Those kids are now with family members. Again, they're unharmed, but you have to think, no matter what direction this investigation goes, that there is going to be some trauma and therapy that they will have to deal with in years to come. Another interesting detail is that the Tepes had a dog, a golden doodle, which was also reportedly at the home and unharmed. The kids and the dog are now with family members. Now, what we know about Spencer Tepe is that he was a dentist in Athens, Ohio. Now, that is a pretty good commute from Columbus, roughly 75 miles, that he had to make that drive to get to the office. But apparently he loved his job as a dentist. He graduated from Ohio State in 2017. He had a doctor of dental surgery degree. According to his bio on the website, he just loved being a dentist. And outside of work, he loved sports. He was a big fan of Ohio State, where he went to college, and also was a fan of the Cincinnati Bengals. He grew up in the Cincinnati area, loved playing golf, loved traveling, and he loved spending time with his family. Now, Spencer was married to Monique Tepe, who also is a graduate of Ohio State. Now, what we know about her is that professionally she had a background in early education. Also, the Columbus Dispatch has put out there that she was married to a fellow Ohio State student, not Spencer. She was married in 2015, but they divorced in 2017. They didn't have children. The Dispatch also says that the divorce was settled amicably. Now, Monique was known as Mo to her friends. She was an avid baker. She had this background in education. And Spencer and Monique, they were coming up on being married 5 years. They were married on January 30th, 2021 in Columbus. And again, in that video, you see them in the home where they were found dead. Their wedding video was shot by a family member, Rob Misla, who has now become a spokesperson for the family. He gave us permission to show you this video that really gives you an idea of how much this couple was loved, how much they loved each other. And that just creates such a mystery in this case, because it doesn't appear either that they had some sort of criminal record beyond some traffic tickets that would put them in a world where they would be the victim of a crime like this. Now, on December 30th, that is when Spencer Tepe and Monique Tepe lost their lives.
Columbus Police, Tech 107.
Yes, I would like to ask for a wellness check on an individual at their home.
Police first received a call from Dr. Tepe's dental office that he didn't show up for work.
This individual, Spencer, works with me, and he did not show up to work this morning, and we cannot get a hold of him or his family.
He didn't show up to work?
Correct.
Okay. Does he have medical problems or?
No, and he's been reliable, and we cannot get in touch with him, his wife, his family, anybody that lives in that house.
Okay. So
There's
you're
2
in
kids in the
Florida.
home. I'm in Florida. I own the business. I was informed by my employees that he was not at work, and he runs the office.
That call was made around 9 in the morning. Spencer's boss says he was on vacation, but the office was just so concerned that they were calling him to say that Spencer didn't show up.
Have you guys received anything else, like calls about him or like a car accident or anything like that?
No, sometimes people just don't show up to work. I mean, maybe he's sick, I don't know.
Now, as much as the dispatcher says it's common for people not to show up for work, his boss seems very concerned because Spencer's just not someone who wouldn't show up for work and not tell anyone.
I just know that he is the most, like, he is always on time, and he would contact us if there was any issues whatsoever. And I just don't know how else to say this. Like, we're very, very concerned because this is very out of character. And we can't get in touch with his wife, which is probably the more concerning thing.
About 20 minutes later, at 9:22, an officer arrived at Spencer and Monique's house, but no one was there to answer the door, so the officer left. Now, concerned friends of the Tepes then went to the couple's house, and they said that they could hear the Tepes' children inside the home. This is around 10 o'clock in the morning.
Okay, what's the emergency there, police or medical?
Maybe both, I guess. I don't know. I'm kind of doing
we
the wellness.
already had a call out there. They knocked on the front door and back door multiple times, and there was no answer.
Yeah, no answer. I can hear kids inside, and I swear I think I heard one yell, but we can't get in. At this point, I don't know if I need to break the door in or just get in the house or what. So.
Okay, were you out there when the police was out there?
I wasn't. I just got here about 5 minutes ago.
Okay, all right, well, we'll send them back out to you.
Then another call from Spencer's work came in.
Our boss did not report to work. We haven't been able to get a hold of him for 3 hours. We are on site, and we can hear
Okay,
kids
I
inside.
just talked to somebody there.
Okay, I'm just making sure somebody called.
5 minutes after the phone call you just heard, there was another call that was made, and this call was from a friend who saw something incredibly terrifying.
911, what's the location of your emergency? Okay, we've got several calls on that. What's changed since the last person I talked to?
There's a body. There's a body.
There's a body inside?
Yeah.
Okay, hold on 1 second. Let me get you on the line with the medic, okay? Stay on the line.
Now, as the caller waits, you can hear what sounds like small children in the background. The Tepes kids were unharmed.
There's a body. Our friend wasn't answering his phone. We just did a wellness check. We just came here, and he appears dead.
Okay.
There's blood. He's laying next to his bed, off of his bed, and there's blood. I can't get closer to see more than that.
Okay, so you can tell he's obviously not breathing or anything.
Yeah. Yeah.
Is it like kind of like puddle, like, you know? Does he look like?
It definitely puddled. I can't look.
Okay. All right. I understand. Okay. And then when was the last time somebody spoke to him?
Yesterday, I suppose.
Yesterday. Okay.
Yeah.
How old is he?
37.
37. Okay. Is he like a drug user or anything like that?
No.
Okay. All right. Just that's a really young age.
Yeah, I understand.
Okay. All right. We're on our way.
Now, the concerned friend says that they saw Spencer's body inside the home.
Caller saying they can hear kids inside. Thought he heard one of them yelling. Now we're getting another call saying there's a body inside. S3 even copy.
Who's saying there's a body inside?
Now, when police go inside the house, they say that they found Spencer dead, as well as his wife. WSYX-TV says that Dr. Tepe was shot multiple times, and Monique had at least one gunshot wound to the chest. Now, police, they don't have a murder weapon, and they do not believe that this was a murder-suicide. Police reportedly recovered a couple 9mm shell casings from the scene as well, so that's critical evidence in trying to figure out exactly what happened. Now, it's unclear which bedroom Spencer may have been in. Was it an upstairs bedroom? Was it a downstairs bedroom? We're not really sure of the layout of the home, but obviously all of that is very important, and there was no sign of forced entry either. It's also unclear what door the person who allegedly killed Spencer and Monique came in. Now, in the wedding video, there is this drone shot of the couple's home, and you can see here that alleyway behind the townhouse, and this is where it appears the person of interest was walking in the middle of the night on the 30th, according to Columbus police. Again, we don't know if this is the person who killed Spencer and Monique, but certainly middle of the night, cold temperatures, walking by yourself, you know, it's certainly someone who's suspicious, and you can see why police put this video out there. Now, Rob Misla, he is the person who shot that wedding video, and he's become this spokesperson for the family. They've done several interviews. One of his first interviews was with Ashley Banfield on News Nation, and here's his response to that person of interest video.
When I first saw it, yeah, I do think, you know, suspicious looking person there. It also very well could be, somebody walking home drunk from a bar.
Misla spoke with the Surviving the Survivor podcast Tuesday night. He said that the 911 recording reportedly from April was made public shortly before he went on that show. He said that the voice you heard on the 911 call is not Monique. He says that the Tepes often had gatherings at their home. Here's part of what he had to say on the podcast.
Multiple people that I've talked to that were at this party have all stated, yes, we remember this happening. The woman had just a little bit of a freak out, for lack of a better term. Maybe, was having some mental health issues at the time. But she called the cops from her cell phone. I know it says it was from Spencer and Monique's house. Maybe it was close. But she was at this party and she just had kind of a lapse psychologically, I think, at the time.
We spoke with Rob Misla today about that reported April 911 call that was first put out there by Fox News Digital, and we asked him about what he said about it on the podcast overnight. Here's his statement to Law&Crime. Quote, "The party that I was talking about was years ago. From my understanding, from Monique's sister, their neighbors, and one of her friends, a friend of Monique, may have had too much to drink and taken an edible and had a mental breakdown. If the date of the 911 call is April 2025, I don't know. I know it was not Monique's voice." Again, that's Rob Misla, who is Monique and Spencer's brother-in-law. Now, retired NYPD Detective Tom Smith, host of the Gold Shields podcast, he's often on our show here on The Case. He was on that podcast last night, and he's going to join me here in a moment to talk a little bit more about where we are in the investigation. But before I get to that, I do want to show you this video again because it's just very important. This person of interest video from Columbus Police, this person walking in the alley behind the Tepes house between 2 and 5 o'clock in the morning on the date that police say the Tepes were shot dead in their home. I think when you look at this video, it's not the most unique walk you've ever seen, but there's just something about it that has some unique tendencies that maybe someone notices the body language, and that can help crack this case. Of course, if you have any information, you need to contact Columbus Police. Joining us now is retired NYPD Detective Tom Smith. Tom, I know you were on the Surviving the Survivor podcast last night as well, and you've heard this new 911 video that Fox News Digital found from April of this year. It's a Tuesday morning around 2:45 in the morning. Not believed to be Monique Tepe on the phone, but what stood out to you when you listened to that phone call?
Well, what stands out is the time frame, of having people in your house in the really late hours on a weekday, on a Tuesday night. So how often did that happen? And how many people have access to that passcode that's on that door? I said it maybe last night or on a different show. If I'm having a party and I have a passcode, I'm giving that passcode to people so I'm not constantly answering the door. So you have to take into account how many people have that code, how many parties did take place, what parties were they? Were they get-togethers or just parties? So those are just part of a enormous investigative steps that have to be taken in this case when, Chris, as you know, when there's nothing. When there's no viable lead, you have to keep an open mind into every possible scenario. And that is certainly one of them, of the number of parties or get-togethers of the same people, were they different people? Did people invite other people? So all of that comes into play when you have this type of an investigation.
Oh, because that's the thing too, is like, it's not just, okay, I'm inviting over, especially if it's kind of a late night party get together. You may not just be inviting, this one person over, it's this person and their friend, and then the party suddenly grows. And then if you're talking, this is the type of party going on back in April and it was a regular occurrence. I mean, how can investigators truly track down how many parties there were and who exactly had been in this house in the past and may know how to get into this house?
Yeah, that's all part of interviews. That's old school, detective work of just tracking down one or two people who can lead you to more and more people, who in their inner circle was always invited or always at these parties that can lead you to other people. And then you just start matching up statements and interviews about their background, who was at these parties. Was there ever a fight at one of these parties? Was there ever someone who showed up that really wasn't invited or shouldn't have been there. You know, things like that. The smallest little detail, Chris, can lead to a break in a case. And that's what they have to go on right now, of just constantly going after and interviewing everyone in these people's background and in their lives.
Now let's talk about the I haven't had a chance to talk to you yet about the person of interest video that came out, because I think to the untrained eye, it's like, okay, it's very grainy in some ways. Like you can see he's wearing a dark coat and some gray pants, and you know, it is this person walking what appears to be right behind the home, but you don't see a face. You know, you as someone who has looked through videos like this in the past, when you see it, what do you see?
Well, there's a lot. You know, everyone is always focused on a video showing someone's face. And of course, in a perfect world, that's what every detective wants, you know, to actually identify someone in a video. But sometimes you take what you got and you start analyzing every other aspect of that video, such as their walk, the arm swing, their head tilt, the clothing they're wearing. Mannerisms can't be, you know, covered up like your face can be or your head can be. You know, those are actions that you just do involuntarily as part of your day. And one of those can lead to the identity of someone. The biggest takeaway I got with the new video, Chris, was the last frame of that video. He distinctly makes a move to cover his face up even more than he was during his walk. I mean, to me, it's a stark move when you're looking at it. Why does he do that? A couple of things in my mind that could have set that off. One, he knows the area and he knows there's a camera at that location and just prevents it from seeing him anywhere else. The other thing is, was someone else walking in that area that startled him, that he wanted to cover his face up even more. So with the second scenario I just laid out, the police need to timestamp that spot and then put out to the public if anyone else was in that area at that time and what they observed. But you know, you don't always need a face when it comes to these videos. Mannerisms can tell an enormous story, and I think this one may have done that.
Yeah, and I feel like too, when you watch this person walk, it's kind of a walk where, like, if I was in Columbus, you know, and maybe you have coworkers, and it's like there's something, I can't really describe it, but there's something about the mannerisms that, like, if I knew someone who walked like that, it would stand out to me. And just kind of the way that they're slunched over, and maybe that's just from trying to hide their face. The other part of it too is they're in the alleyway behind the house. So it's like they have this detached garage, and then it's at like a townhome, and then you would drive your car in and then park it that way, as opposed to walking in front of the home where I think, like, we've seen there's a Ring doorbell camera there. Just about the location of it. And I don't know if that's a shortcut from, maybe, you know, I know Rob Misla had said, the brother-in-law, that like maybe it was a person coming home from a bar in the area. Maybe it's a shortcut. I don't know. But just what stands out to you about the fact that they're going down that particular kind of the alleyway as opposed to being in front of the house?
Yeah, to me, it's a knowledge of the area. It's an absolute, you know, knowing the area, knowing the neighborhood, that alley is secluded from maybe the rest of, you know, the street and anyone else that might have been there, and secluded enough that, you know, no one's going to see them. But there are cameras everywhere, as we've seen on, you know, every case that we talk about these days. But I just see it as a knowledge of the area. And I think it could lead to something. But here's the other thing. If it's that individual sees it, or it's been all over the news, it's been all over TV, if that's me, the first people I'm calling are the police going, yeah, that's me. Hey, I was just coming home from whatever. You want a statement? I'll be in 5 minutes. And that hasn't happened. So that leads me to believe this might actually be something.
And I think too, if like, because these are like new build townhomes, and there's, you know, the Tepes appeared to have a Ring doorbell system in place, that like so many of these homes, especially in a back alley like that, because I used to live in a place almost very similar in terms of like the townhome detached, and like that's an area where like you would have people going through garbage, people trying to break into garages and things like that. So a lot of people have cameras back in that area. So you wonder if there's more video that police have. What do you think the strategy is at this point for police, where it's been more than a week? We only, to our knowledge, have this grainy video of a person of interest walking down the alley.
Well, here's the thing that I really want to stress to everyone. We don't know what the police know. You know, we've done so many shows together, Chris, that police hold back a lot of information before they have a press conference or before they kind of divulge the avenues they're going in or strategies that they have, because they may have a lot of good information that they're not ready to share with because it may lead to one or two particular people that they're looking at presently. So we're going to have to wait to see kind of what's been going on with the investigation. I am a little surprised because of the media coverage of this that there hasn't been a press conference at least acknowledging some of the things that are going on, and to have a face to the investigation to say, hey everyone, here's a number, here's your tip line, here's this, whatever that we normally get when we have these media driven cases. And I'm a little surprised that hasn't happened yet with this.
Yeah, no, that's a very good point. I mean, we see a lot of, I think the headline as of this morning when we're recording this for a television station in Columbus is that, a day after this video was released, we still have not really heard anything from police, which is, it's interesting because I think back, the case I think of is like Koberger. It was this, the police took so much heat for weeks, and then you look back on the case and they actually had some pretty good information that they were just building up on the time. They just weren't releasing it to the public. When it comes to the evidence, I know the last time we spoke, we talked about shell casings and what those can tell. Reportedly, police have, I believe, 3 9mm shell casings. How critical of a piece of evidence is that when you're trying to find a murder weapon?
Oh, enormous. There's two things that with the shooting are important. The shell casings, of course, because there could be extensive DNA evidence on there. And the other thing are the rounds, unfortunately, that they're going to have to extract from either the body or somewhere in that room, because it's going to have the grooves, it's going to have the turns in it, to identify the weapon when and if they do recover one to match it up with the crime scene.
And when you look at, and there's a lot that we still don't know at this point, but there's, of theories of like it was a burglary or it was, completely random. And all of those I think are possible at this point. They haven't been ruled out by police. But then there's the belief that this could have been someone that they knew, that it was targeted. You've investigated a lot of cases throughout your career. Like, where's your gut at this point as far as what may have happened here?
Well, I'll go with the way detectives should act first. It's very hard not to get wrapped up in what's going on in the media. But as a detective and investigator, you have to. You have to seclude yourself from what's going on out there and keep an open mind into every possible scenario that this crime could have been part of. You don't want to speculate too much, because then that can cloud a direction you're going in or the way you talk to someone or the evidence that you have. So it's hard to do, but they need to really just keep an open mind into this, because there isn't a viable lead that we know of yet. So to get wrapped up in that, we'll see. But my instinct, again, not knowing anything, just my absolute gut instinct in this is that it's someone they know. It has to do with one of their pasts that maybe hasn't come out yet, that maybe detectives know about. But it just seems to be, to put it in a term, too neat that it happened the way it did, with not doing anything to the children, thank God, but there was a dog at the scene too. Nothing happened to the dog. So it just seemed a very, very targeted, personal murder. And I think that's the way it's going to end up being.
Yeah, and we'll see how it plays out. I mean, obviously at this point, we, kind of speculate, but the no forced entry part of it seems to be very critical. And especially with the house having that Ring doorbell camera or whatever the brand is, that they ended up having theirs. What is it like for the detectives right now? The ones who it probably feels like the pressure of the world is on your shoulders because everybody wants to know who did this crime. Every media outlet is asking about it. And yet, you're the one who is interviewing people. You're the one in the room. What is it like probably for the Detective Bureau in Columbus right now working on this case?
It's stressful. They're not sleeping. They're not going home. That I guarantee you. And they're going to take this personal because it's in their backyard. They may not have personally known the victims, but this happened on their watch in their backyard, and they're going to take it very personal. So I guarantee you they're not getting a lot of sleep. They're doing every possible thing they can do to run down every lead that comes in. And I'm sure they're getting a lot. It's just because it's not being publicized about, the information they're receiving, anonymous tips, emails, whatever it might be. They are running down every conceivable lead, and that takes time sometimes. I said it last night. This isn't a TV show. It's not a movie that it's going to be done in an hour. This is real life, and it takes some time, at times, depending on the leads that they have and the investigative steps that they need to take.
And we'll see what happens next. Obviously, still waiting for some new developments in this case. Incredibly sad story, and you just hope those children, can get help, not just now, but down the line because of what happened inside their home. And hopefully there's justice as well. Retired NYPD Detective Tom Smith, it's always great to have you on Law and Crime, co-host of the Gold Shields podcast. Thanks for being with us.
Thanks, Chris, as always.
That will do it for On the Case, presented by Law and Crime. Subscribe to us on YouTube and Spotify, and you can also now watch episodes of On the Case on Peacock. I'm Chris Stewart. We'll see you next time.